I'm delighted to meet all of you virtually. It's better than not meeting at all. But because of the virtual platform, we now have a outreach to many people who normally in a physical meeting cannot get. This is a kind of a new contribution that the pandemic has done to us in a positive way. We have learned how to reach out to people who remain unreached because of the distance, because of the expenses involved, because of other dislocations required to attend physically some conferences, which are mostly held in a physical way. Today, in the virtual world, anybody anywhere can join anytime, and in the comfort of their own home. So I'm very happy to do that, and I'm thanking everybody who has tuned in. It's the end of the 2-day event. It's a very, very fascinating and very thrilling event that we had for these 2 days about the summit, youth summit that we had held. And I have been talking about the youth for many years and saying that this is our only hope to see how we can leave the past behind and create a new world for us. So that's where the intersection we have, how to move from here to the next stage. And pandemic has created some opportunities for us, just including this technological changes that it has brought to reach out to many minds, many people, many distant places. So taking advantage of that, we look at the pandemic, what happened, how we have dealt with pandemic during this one whole year. So tomorrow is March 1. So all began in the middle of March in Bangladesh. And since then, many of us are inside our homes, hardly leaving it at all, and reaching out to the world from home and doing whatever our normal activities are through our home offices and home exchanges to our virtual platforms. Many things happened during the pandemic. Some of them are very positive for us, and we should remember them, how to retain those positive aspects of it. Some of it happened in a negative way, but bringing us very positive possibilities. Right at the beginning, I was mentioning about how economics has been designed in the wrong way, where millions of people have to walk home to go back because of the cities where they were working has no work left. And the work meant as a street vendors selling things, sidewalks, food items, street foods, many things they do, retailing on the sides, small shopkeepers. As soon as the pandemic came, it all closed down and there was no business left for them, no income for them. So big issue came as a life versus livelihood. And I was supporting life over the livelihood. I said livelihood is an artificial creation, a problem artificially created. So that's not what we should be sacrificing the life for. So life is supreme. We should always hold on to life, and we'll be always championing the life rather than the livelihood. So livelihood has to be organized around the life, not the other way around. So I was saying this is a shame that we created economics where people have to go home because they don't have any work left, any income left. When you don't have income, who are the daily income earners? Some, as I said, entrepreneurs and so on, micro entrepreneurs. Others are daily wage earners, working at houses, working at offices as a daily watchman or whatever little work they had, cleaners, those kind of things. So they lost their jobs. Some lost their income, some lost their jobs and income. And as soon as it stops, they don't have any cushion of savings to fall back on. So that is also gone. Food is gone. And they didn't have any money to pay the rent of the little holes that they had to live in because of the city. Living in the city is so difficult, finding space for hiding yourself for the night so that you can go back to work in the morning. Even that money they didn't have to pay for those little space that we had. So now that they have no option, they have decided to go back home. That's where millions of people on the highways, on the roads, with their families going back home. And the most shocking thing is home is not 50 miles from where they live, not 100 miles from where they live, hundreds of miles, some 500 miles, 600 miles, 700 miles away from the places they work. So the question that I was raising, what kind of economy we have built, what kind of economic thinking we had behind them, which could not provide survival livelihood to people in places where they are born, right in the place where they're born. They're forced to leave their homes, go as distant place as 500 miles away, without knowing anybody, without being familiarized with the circumstances they will be in an uncertain journey. And many must have failed along the way, became more destitute than they ever was. They couldn't find a place, they couldn't find a livelihood where they're born. And that's an issue that I've been raising, that the economic conceptualization of designing economic activity is fundamentally wrong. We make city as the center of all economic activity. And I feel very uncomfortable with that. I said, city should not be the center of all economic activity. Human beings should be the center of human activity and the economic activity. So it should be human-based economy rather than city-based economy. Wherever the people live, economy should be built around them, not the other way around. They don't go to the place where economy is built, so people have to go there to participate in that economy. That's a wrong idea. They created the concept of city to converge everything in one place. I said that maybe at the beginning made sense because they needed a place to interact and so on. But today, this is far, far removed from reality. You can have economy built any place you want because of the infrastructure is available everywhere. Your telephones are everywhere, internet is everywhere, road communication is everywhere, electricity is everywhere. So there's no excuse why you have to bring all the people to the city from all the rural areas and to make them work at the very bottom of the economic ladder in the city. So city folks and rural folks became two distinct categories of people. If you're rural folk, you belong to very low strata of society. You're urban folk, you're above in the top level of the society. It's an artificially created layers of the society. I said economists treated rural areas as the factory, labor producing factory. So all the responsibility they have is to produce labor. And that labor has to be sent to the city so that they can be used and abused in their economy. And at the same time, rural economy produce many primary produce. They have to sell it to the city at the price city dictated. And they are they are captive in the hands of the decision makers of the city. I said, that's another thing again, goes against the rural people. You're sending your young people to work in the urban areas. You're sending all your products into produce in the urban area to be processed there. I said, this is very funny. Why didn't you think about keeping our young people at the place where they're born and process the produce what is born in the area which is actually grown and send the finished product to the city? To make it advantageous to the urban people, we have to send everything to the urban people. So it should be people-centric economy. Wherever the people live, that's what the economy should be. And I was pointing out, I said, again, it's ridiculous to have, say, to give an example of what business could be. Call centers, very good example. It's a very modern, very technology-based businesses. I see no reason why all these technology-based call centers should be located in the heart of the city, where space is so congested and so expensive, and every young person is put into a hall to make their job, to carry on with their job, to answer questions raised in some unknown city, unknown place in the United States. They are responding to those questions from here. And they have to find a place to live, very difficult way to find a place to live. They have to leave their home to go to the city, live in the city, to work in the call center. I said, I see no logic why call center cannot be located in the village. Village has the same facility. If they don't have the facility, build the facility, because this is where everything can be done. And the air is clean, it's not as polluted as in the city. And you can work out of your home. You don't have to live in an artificial situation. You can send your children to the school that you went to school to and build up the economy where you are born. And this is an example. There are so many other examples you can pick up and continue to see how economy can be built around people rather than according to some wishful thinking of some theoretician conceptualizing that what economy should be in a very convenient place with a highly congested population and making all these terrible things, the people making their health at risk because of the pollution that it creates, and health hazard that it creates. So these are the issues that came up as we passed to the chapters of pandemic. This is one of the first one struck us, and we saw that. And then we said, again, it shows the people who are going back, most of them are micro entrepreneurs. They could have been very successful micro entrepreneurs if the financing was available to them. Now, most of that micro entrepreneurs, almost 99% of the micro entrepreneurs, their source of funds are always the loan sharks. Loan sharks will give you the money to run your business. Some loan sharks will traditionally in the region, in the Southeast Asia region, and worse, outside the region too. The lending for the daily marketing, daily entrepreneurship is that if whatever you borrow, you pay 10% per day. And they survive with the 10% per day. Can you imagine what the 10% day means? An annual rate? That's the amount they have to pay every day to a loan shark. And that's where you get it. And in Philippines, it's a very famous thing. They call it 5 and 6. That's a system of lending in Philippines. 5 and 6 means you borrow 5 peso in the morning, you pay 6 peso in the afternoon. So for every 5, you pay 1. So for 10, you pay 2. So this is it. You can imagine how much money you're paying per day, per year, per amount of loan that you have been taking. So that's the range. Loan shark takes away all the earning that you make. You have just a survival income out of your own entrepreneurship. I said this is again to remind ourselves very vividly to create micro-entrepreneurial banks. That's what it should be. So that's another lesson that we learned that this period is to awake us so that we can make decisions to create micro-entrepreneur banks where their commitment will be to provide all the financing that micro-entrepreneurs need. Micro-entrepreneurs are the sellers of the street, they're the artisans who are working, handicrafts people. They're all micro-entrepreneurs doing things, but they are all financed by loan sharks. And all their income goes to the loan shark. They become the big business people, all squeezing money out of these poor people. And they remain at the bottom level of the society. Then I pointed out during this pandemic period, not only we have to have a legal position or a legislation made to create micro-entrepreneur bank, in the law, it should be made very clear. Those banks should be social business banks. Otherwise, micro-entrepreneur bank themselves can become loan sharks. And we have seen many examples of microcredit expanding throughout the world. And the first thing they do, you take the microcredit to become loan sharks. I said, what a shame. We created microcredit to eliminate loan sharks. Now the same tool is being used by the loan shark to make themselves microcredit operators, calling them microcredit operators. So that it doesn't happen again, we should be creating these banks specifically as a social business micro-entrepreneur bank, meaning these banks will never be able to make money for their owners. They're dedicated to solving problems with people by financing and so on. This is another one. And as we are continued with our journey, another thing that we did is the no going back. People were trying to go back to the original position, that pre-pandemic economy. I was saying that will be a shame. We don't want to go back to that pre-pandemic situation, because that world was a terrible world. That world was about to make human being extinct on this planet. So that became another campaign during this period that we involved in this pandemic period, that warning people, making aware that let's not go back. Let's make a decision, a very firm decision, no going back. And people say, where do you find the money? And so, well, you already have all the money at your disposal that you accumulated or organized, mobilized for bailout packages and so on. Use this to go into different direction. So that's another chapter of our campaign. Alongside what we did, we focused on the question of vaccine when people are not even talking about vaccine yet. We saw the vaccine will have to come at one point or another. So we started a campaign suspecting that these vaccines will not be available to most of the people in the world. So we wanted to make sure the vaccine is available for every single person in every single country at the same time, simultaneously. So this is one issue that we have been raising. Then we prepared an appeal, global appeal, to send out to the whole world to make corona vaccine as a common good, as a global common good. We explain what common good is. Common good is something which, where that's ownership of the intellectual property right doesn't belong to companies, profit-making companies. Because as long as these companies own the patent right or intellectual right, they will try to make exorbitant profit out of that by taking this as an occasion to squeeze people to bring out most money for their life. So they saw profit making in exchange of people's life is a good opportunity for them. So they were looking for that opportunity. And we are saying that no, this vaccine should be made before it is marketed, made as a common good, meaning that it should not belong to, patent should not belong to any person, any company, any profit-taking company, any profit-making company. We were suggesting all the patent rights should be handed over to WHO as our global organization for everybody. And they will make sure these patent rights are available to anybody who is capable to produce these vaccines. So that's another campaign. And many Nobel Prize winners signed that across the board, not only the peace prizes, science prizes, medicine prizes, chemistry prizes, physics prizes, Nobel prizes. They all signed our appeal, and many business leaders, top business leaders in the world, many film actors, celebrities, sports people signed it. And it was published throughout the world, an appeal for making common good, vaccine as a common good. And that idea of common good is nothing new. We explain to everybody. We are not saying something from the top of our head. This already exists because Jonas Salk, who invented the polio vaccine, when the polio vaccine was accepted and being used, he declared right away that vaccine, I'm not the owner of this vaccine. People are the owner of this vaccine. So he called it people's vaccine. he didn't want to own the vaccine, that they should belong to the people. He even said, it's like a sunshine. Sunshine doesn't belong to any individual. It belongs to every single human being on this planet. And not only human being, every other life form that exists on this planet. So we've said this already, it has been set up as a kind of a common good. Why don't we continue with that? So that became a big campaign. We got very good response. Many editorials were written, many statements were made. Then Awaz took it up and to multiply this. And Awaz went ahead with our appeal. And I was very happy. They collected almost 1 million signatures for that. It's 900,000 plus many. It's almost 1 million signatures were put in by the last date that they put, and they stopped there. So this is another campaign that we made. And we went to the United Nations to promote a resolution so that the United Nations in its September session could adopt this as a resolution to make corona vaccine as a public good, as a common good. Unfortunately, we couldn't get it through the United Nations. The people from the vaccine world, the commercial world, they are very active to persuade the rich countries. This will be dangerous for their business, and they may not be able to produce enough by doing that. And everybody was eager to have the vaccines. So that was never got the we never got the resolution passed by the United Nations. But it still continues. Individually, many countries supported us. President Macron supported us, said the vaccine should be common good. Chancellor Merkel declared that it should be a common good. In the meantime, China has declared that their vaccine will be common good. There will not be any patent right on the Chinese vaccines and so on. So that campaign continues. It took an ugly shape when it started producing and distributing the vaccines. We saw that the vaccines are all bought up by the rich countries. Poor countries don't have much left. And some of the countries purchase several times more than their population. And still, I think about 12 countries have bought about 90% of the vaccines which was under production at that time. Today, after many months, after many days, many weeks left, since vaccines is available, but it's only a handful of countries which has the vaccines available to them. And Bangladesh is lucky; they got some at least, not the full quantity yet, but some. But there are many countries in the world they have not seen a vaccine yet, and they're the majority in the world. And some countries will never see vaccines probably until the end of 1923. By that time, how many deaths will occur, we don't know. If you look at Africa, entire Africa is completely vaccine-free yet. There's no vaccine going there. So only South Africa, we keep hearing different versions of the statement, but basically whole Africa is left alone without any vaccines. So this is the situation. And then vaccine producers who wanted to make big profit out of it, they are charging enormous prices to sell that. And that's why they went to the rich countries. I said, there is a situation here. All the people who need the vaccines, they are waiting for vaccine to save their life. And the vaccine companies are saying the highest bidder can get the vaccine. Give me the best price, then I'll give it to you. For them, life doesn't matter. It's the money which matters to them. I said that creates a whole situation of the market mechanism of this world in a ridiculous way, how greedy they can get. Even when people die, they couldn't care less. Their main interest in making money, their shareholders' profit goes up, their stock price goes up. Every time they say, vaccine is coming, their stock market goes right, sharply shoots up. And this is what they're enjoying in this. I've been pleading that the whole pharmaceutical industry should be revisited, how it is done. And I'm trying to draw attention of the people to create social business pharmaceutical companies. We must be able to create global pharmaceutical companies as social businesses, so that these are businesses not to make money for their owners, but to make vaccines and medicines and everything, to make it available to every people on this planet at the price affordable to them, even at the cost price, because they are not interested in making money. Today, enormous money is made on the pharmaceutical industries because people need it for their life, their diseases, and so on. So they pay any price you want because you have the permit, you have the patent right. I have no question to make. I cannot question it, so I pay. So we are kind of under a threat of life. You have to pay whatever they ask for. So that's not a situation that human society has to survive. So we say this is a good idea. We should start this global social business, pharmaceutical companies, and so on. So this is another chapter in our work that we have been doing. Besides our traditional work that we do, is YSBC is one area that we have been active with our work. These are the organizations within the universities, so that the young people can take courses and so on. And I'm very happy with the recent announcement coming from AIT Bangkok, Asian Institute of Technology. They are launching a master's degree, a global master's degree from April. If you are interested, you can sign on, take this course, a social business master's degree coming up, a global degree will be coming up in AIT Bangkok. That will be something. And there are many other institutions which are providing bachelor degrees and other degrees and courses they're offering. So YSBC, Yunus Social Business Center, is a chain of social business centers that we have around the world. I hope you can connect with yourself, your organization, so that you can work together and you get the young people in the universities involved in the work that we do, and so on. The last one that I would mention is the new one which is coming up. Sajib can brief you, or already have briefed you on that. This is what we call 3-0 clubs. 3-0, you are familiar with 3-0 that we have been promoting. And during this pandemic, we're saying that instead of saving us, they are killing us by creating global warming, by creating extreme wealth concentration, and creating massive unemployment through artificial intelligence. So I said the only way we have to turn into a new direction, and I call this creating a world of 3 zeros. 0 net carbon emission, that's the number 10. So we can create a world of 0 carbon emission, and 0 wealth concentration for elimination of poverty. So we want to create a world where wealth and people will be living together, will be overlapping with each other rather than distance from each other. Today's world, wealth is totally distanced from people. So we want to turn it around, bring the people and the wealth together, so that they can share the wealth together and make it a different kind of world. And then 0 unemployment, because artificial intelligence is coming up to ensure 100% unemployment. We say we have to turn it around to make it 0 unemployment. So these are the 3 zeros we have always campaigning for. And we thought it should be brought into the perspective of the young people. And young people can form small clubs, and say any 5 person, and the age limit is from 12 years to 35 years. And you can, if you are within that age range, 5 of you, minimum of 5 of you can get together and form a 3-0 club. Meaning that you are concerned about these problems, global warming, wealth concentration, and artificial intelligence. That concern has to be translated into a new direction, how to overcome and bring it to the 0 level. So this is in your thought, not that you're overnight you'll change everything, but if it gets into your head, someday it will make it happen. And that's where imagination part. So you'll start imagining. So not only you create with a 5-member or more than 5-member 3-0 clubs anywhere. You don't have to be in a school for doing that. You could be out of school. It could be you're a very professional person who never went to school, but you can create a social business. Sorry, a 3-0 club. And 3-0 club, you can have a specialization on that. You can be 3-0 club for environment, 30 Club for water, 30 Club for healthcare, 30 Club for music, whichever direction you want. You want to get that aspect of it built into the 30 so that with your specialization, you work for campaigning for 30 so that you can reach out to other people to make them concerned about it so that we don't have to submit ourselves without knowing what did we do. We didn't even know what we were doing. But now we know we should be concerned, we should be coming up, and then networking among the 30 clubs. I hope you will get connected with each other with the 30 clubs. Shazib will continue to explain to you how you can do that. And we are hoping that it will become a global network. It could be in your university, you can do that. You have a club series. You can convert one of the clubs or several of the clubs as a 30 clubs, or have completely separate 30 clubs. It doesn't have to be associated or linked with the university administration. It's your choice. It's independent, autonomous thing. It's not something you need to approval from anybody. You did it, and there's a registration point with us, and we'll give you the address where to register. There'll be a global secretariat, which will be located in Bangladesh, and you can sign up with the local global secretariat, and you get your number, that your club number such and such, and you get attached to it. And before that, we will try to get you an affiliation from one of the YSBC, so that it could be, you can suggest what YSBC you want to be affiliated with, and then we choose one of the YSBC which will be eager to take you in as give their affiliation. So you'll have affiliation with the university of YSBC wherever you are, doesn't matter. You may be in Bangladesh, your YSBC may be in Japan, your YSBC may be in Europe or in Latin America. Because you have friends there, you want to be associated with the Latin American university. It doesn't matter. As long as you remain attached or affiliated with the university YSBC. And occasionally you have your Zoom meeting, discuss with your friends, you meet your friends and say how to have common platform and everything else. So this would be another campaign for us to make us aware that we have to do something. So our main message is to the young people, message of defiance. You have to defy to get out of the old. If you follow the old, you are trapped completely. So you have to get ready to defy every single thing that they tell you so that you can define your own thing, own way, own thinking, own. As long as you can do that, you can keep your thinking process free from the old thinking. Then we have a good chance that we can create 3.0 world as soon as we can. Thank you very much for inviting me, and I'm hoping that we'll continue with this conversation. And it's not just a talk for talk's sake, but for action's sake. It should take the action form. And I have given you some suggestion about the actions, and particularly with the YSBC and also with the 3.0 clubs. And we also have events that you can participate. Shazib has given you one summit, youth summit, that you have gone through. Through Yunus Center, we have several events. This year, we'll have 3 events. One is just coming next month, in April, April 10 and 11. This will be East Africa Social Business Forum for Entrepreneurship. So although it is East Africa Forum, but it will be a global forum focusing on East Africa, because we have seen lots of activities taking place in social business sector in East Africa. So we thought we'll focus on East Africa, but it will be a global forum, youth forum. We focus on the youth, and I hope you will participate in that. Another organization we have that I would like to mention quickly is the Yunus Sports Hub. We never did the sports before, but now sports became very integral part of us. Sports as for social change. So now even international sports authorities became very interested in our work. We are working collaboratively. Paris Olympic 2024, the Olympic that will take place in Olympic in 2024, they already have committed, and we are working together to make the Paris Olympic as social business Olympic. This is a massive task, but we are very happy, and they are very happy to convert this whole Olympic into a social business Olympic. And during one of the workshop, you can explain or talk to you among yourself, what is a social business Olympic? So this is a big point for us that we do that. And there are many sports clubs and so on. We are now getting involved with social businesses to transform the athletes and sports people to find their own entrepreneurial activities and so on, rather than get shocked after they reach the age of 35 or 36. They see their life is ending. They don't have any preparation for the next life. So now we said your life is not ending. Your life is continuing. You become an entrepreneur. Don't look for job. Job is not the direction that you should go. You become an entrepreneur and help other sports people to become entrepreneurs. There's a wide world of sports waiting for you. So this is one. Another one we are doing in Pyeongchang in Korea with the Winter Olympic took place in 2018. There's huge infrastructure built. Every place there's an Olympic, billions of dollars are spent to make infrastructure, buildings, structures, and so on, to accommodate athletes, to hold the games and so on. But after the Olympics, it's all abandoned. And similarly, with the Winter Olympic in Pyeongchang, huge infrastructures are built and it's remained abandoned. And for every Olympic, you remember many such things are happening. And I was criticizing them. Why spend so many billions of dollars? Then you abandon them and rot them. It doesn't come into any use. It's like a historical thing. You have to dig it up, find it out one day. It's not. It should be used. So we said we'll be creating under all the Pyeongchang infrastructure in Korea. They have given us, we have created a social business project out of them to create an entire social business based on those infrastructures, educational facilities, particularly tourism in that as a social business, so that they're continuously used and people enjoy those facilities that have been created rather than be abandoned. At least 8 Olympics we see now that all the abandoned facilities, some are just rotting away. So we said, there's a shame that these are rotting away. These should be fully used. And we take the challenge, we said, to convert them into beautiful social businesses. So we need your thinking process into it, how to design it, how to make it useful. This is available. Is something lying there. So the president of International Olympic Committee, Thomas Bach, he's very eager to do that. And we invited him to speak in our lecture series. And he will be speaking next month in our lecture series. So we'll notify you. And please listen to him, what he has to say about social business in the sports world. So this will be another dimension that is opening. So you can get connected in many different points to make that possibility. It's a global issue, and everybody should feel about it so that we can work together. We are not isolated, crying away in a remote place. We are right at the center of the world. Whatever you do, it becomes known to the rest of the world. That's what the power of communication and power of all these events that you are handling right now. And thank you very much. I'll stop here and let you conclude your summit. Thank you.